Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Uncensored Enlightenment Talk. And you're here with your host, Grace. Yes, yes, yes. So we're coming with another improv live. And today I want to talk about why Torey Lanez case will be dismissed. And we have to ask that critical question. Did Kelsey shoot Meg? Now, I do want to start off by saying, and a lot of you are not going to like it, so I'm ready. Say what you want. I'm going to get the comments up. Say what you want. Don't come here with the nonsense. Oh, you hate black women, you hate black men. Literally, this conversation has been so distorted and changed to what is not. So, today on Uncensored, we're going to refocus the conversation and make it make sense. Because there's a lot of commentary out there, and we have to represent the black community, well. So, let's do this because we're going to talk with some common sense here. Now, let's start off by talking about a little bit about what we know. Now, I've been doing as much listening as you've been doing, um, different commentary, reviewing the lawyers' websites, or let's say YouTube pages that are doing commentary. I'm going to share in the description one of the lawyers that I just reviewed, and he was a prosecutor. And yes, he's a Caucasian man, but the way that he broke it down made sense, and also it was calm, cool, collective, and not dealing with emotions. So that's not what we're going to deal with here. We're going to deal with logic. Now, from the beginning, we do know that there is some type of issue between Kelsey and Meg right now, directly right after the event happened. So we have to ask the question. We know something happened because for Meg to be the victim and have bullet fragments in her foot, which we acknowledge. And if this is your friend, what has occurred that you stopped talking to her or she stopped talking to you? Okay, I'm kind of jumping the gun, but you got to keep that in mind as well. So we do know brief synopsis of the situation. They were at the Jenner's house after a video shoot. Tory, little munchkin self, doing his thing, trying to be in one of the Jenner's face, which caused Megan, in all regards, from what we're hearing, to feel away once we put the pieces together. So allegedly, Megan and Kelsey left. On the way to them being almost home, it was a suggestion allegedly by Meg the Stallion to go back because she forgot something or she wanted Tory Lanez to be picked up in any aspect. That's kind of what people saying. She felt some type of way because Tory was left back there with the white women, and she knew that he would possibly be, doing his thing, which was very disrespectful, in any aspect, especially knowing or allegedly knowing now that he was dealing with both women. Okay. So they picked up Tory. Tory's in the car, allegedly now. You have all four of them in the car, the bodyguard. You have Tory, you have Meg the Stallion, and you have Kelsey. Now, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. When it comes to the position, originally it sounded like it was Megan in the front at first. That's what it sounded like when the story was told. But when you look at the actual tape of when they were pulled over by the cops, it looked like Megan got out of the back seat. Okay. And that was the back passenger. And Tori got out of the front passenger, and Kelsey got out of the back driver passenger. According to the video, you can see this. Okay. So I don't know if the positions would change because we do know that the situation started on one location and escalated and moved to another location. And the first location allegedly was in someone's driveway, okay, where they found jewelry, they found broken nails, and they found gunshot shells casing. And this is where the phone call was made from this neighbor that witnessed the altercation. Okay, so we do know that the witness outside of the car called the cops and said there are two young ladies fighting, and basically he saw and he said, because this is according to today I was looking at, who is this, let me pull to make sure, LD Mola, I guess this is Glam Trial, Malgo Glam Trial. I'm going to share that with you because she's there and I like the way she's breaking it down. I don't know this young lady, but she's giving the facts. And I'm going to let you listen to some of the things she said, and then we're going to react to it. I'm not going to show the commentary because these are these other people stuff. You know, I'm already get copywritten, but I want you to listen to some of the things that she said and how things were mixed up. And then I'm going to react to it. And we're also going to go into what is immunity regarding the Fifth Amendment because people don't understand that. And this was a topic that I brought up on the Wiley show when I talked, and people were just like, so we have to know law. We have to get out of our emotions to stop saying what they should do, what they shouldn't do, because that's not how life works. We're in the belly of the beast. They have created a system, a judicial system that we must learn. And before we can react and say what we want, we at least have to learn that system and then move forward to changing things. So let's listen to this young lady, just a little bit of her stuff, okay? Hopefully she don't copyright us. Hold on. Let's start. Listen to this.
Way the three of them were beating the girl. And listen to this. They say when Megan crawled over to the adjacent driveway, he said the three of them, that would be Kelsey, Quan, and Torey. He is accusing them of beating Megan to the point where he thought that they would kill her. He said that Megan was in the fetal position and that the bigger guy said the police coming. He said they picked the girl up and I thought that they was gonna throw her in the motherfucking water. He said if they would have thrown her in the water, it was 12 to 15 feet deep. And he said, I thought that that's what they was about to do. I thought that they would kill her, but then they put her in the car and drove off. Okay. That is why I made the comment about the way.
So let's just stop right there. I want to add my commentary. So obviously something happened right there. And what they said, they saw that allegedly at this time that it was three people attacking Megan. Okay. And they picked this big lady up off the ground and he thought that they was about to throw her in the water, but they put her in the car. Now, I need you guys to actually think about this in your head. Now, if you have two young ladies that is sleeping with the same man, and then this man comes in the car, don't care about the females. He's drunk, he's belligerent. He says something out of pocket. They're arguing about who's the best rapper, allegedly, but then he comes out and say, Kelsey, Meg, you need to tell the truth. You need to tell what's going on or what you got going on behind your girl back. Okay. And I believe allegedly this is when Kelsey and Megan started to argue. These two young ladies may have gotten out the car and fought and fought. Now, listening to what she's saying, it sounds like they had a ample amount of time to get out the car and fight, which is you're going to hear her say this, and they watch. What I'm assuming, because you found nails and chains on the floor that belonged to Kelsey allegedly, maybe Meg was getting the best of Kelsey. We would assume that because Meg is a stallion. She's big, okay? And she probably was really like just catching a body to the point that they had to possibly pull him away. Or before that happened, Kelsey got away and got the pistol and shot the pistol towards Meg. Allegedly. Now, the only reason why I'm saying this, because based on the testimony What you're gonna hear from what she says as a third party, that the neighbor, the neighbor said it was shots that was fired at first, and then it was a separate set of fire shots that was fired that he watched Tory Lane shoot recklessly in the air. He never said he watched Tory Lane shoot towards or on the ground. And if you know how bullets go, yes, you can shoot bullets in the air and they do come down. But the ricocheting for that to directly hit Meg's feet is a little bit like too statistically not real. Okay. So it can be a situation where Kelsey pulled out this whiz pistol, like, yo, I'm from Texas. I know how to shoot this pistol, baby. This big old broad ain't about to beat me up. First and foremost, she's sleeping with everybody who I sleep with. And that's the next argument. It is known or allegedly known that Megan Thee Stallion was going behind the men that Kelsey was with. And I think this was put on a record that this was allegedly the third guy that she did this with. Okay. So that set a tone to say that it was a possibility that Meg had enough of, I mean, well, I apologize. Kelsey had enough aggression after getting, getting the what is it, the brakes beat off of her, like, no, no, and grabbed that pistol. Now, they said it was 5 shots. From my analysis or my opinion, I would assume 2 of the shots came from Kelsey. And that's when the bodyguard and Tory Lanez came out and started to try to break up the fight. Now, the Caucasian man said something, or the witness said something to the nature that they were beating up the girl. Like, and it was a testimony from Kelsey that she was ragged like a rag doll. Okay. How did this happen if you wasn't the object of the affliction and Meg is the victim? Okay. Something had to happen that you got ragged like a rag doll. So they may have been separated. And because, Kelsey may have came back to pursue while they were trying to separate them. And it may have appeared that they were jumping Meg Thee Stallion, trying to get her apart. And you see little short man pulling probably Meg, and then the one pill toss. No, no, Kelsey. Yeah, it had to be the bodyguard on Meg and Tori on Kelsey, because she said that allegedly Tori tossed Kelsey. Okay. And I think this is what they saw. So he may have seen Kelsey come back to pursue Meg. And, after the gun was wrestled out of her hand, because we have to remember there were shots fired. Now, I can't say it was 2 separate shots and it was 5, pop, 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 pow. But this is just a synopsis that makes some sense. Um, Tori could have been wrestling the gun out of her hand. She went back again to fight, and he may have shot it recklessly in the air. Okay, it is saying that he shot the gun, but it was after the first 2 shots. So we're going to listen to more of what she said regards to the witness, so this can make sense for you.
Beating the girl. They were all fussing. And they were all fussing and beating the girl. He said, so, that's what happened. And they said, you testified about a short guy getting out of the back, right? Yes. When the small guy got out, they all fought. He said he got out and he was shouting a lot. They were all shouting. They said, didn't you tell us, quote, the chap in the car was firing the gun? He said, yes. He said, but they were all fighting. He said, I saw the short guy shoot all over everywhere, about 4 to 5 shots. And then they played the audio. Now, this is where my problem comes in at. You said that you didn't see a gun. And you said that Kelsey initially, fired the gun. There were only 5 shots fired. So what the hell have you heard? And what the hell is going on?
Okay, so you can see the inconsistencies with the gun shooting and what the series of events is. But as I mentioned, this may be happening because there's a bigger ulterior motive behind this case. Okay. Not only did a one night went out of hand, they have to pay recovery now. These are all people in the industry. Meg is a mega million star. Tory Lane is a mega million star. You know, he has his fans, she has her fans. Kelsey works in the background. She is now have a child with someone who's in the industry that's directly connected to Meg the Stallion, 501 1501. So some way, somehow, something is being orchestrated. Okay, we also got to keep in mind that the bodyguard, not Meg the Stallion bodyguard that wasn't there, has nothing to do like allegedly giving third party information. Third party is usually not admissible in court. And that means third party is someone told you something and you go back as the witness. You can't be the witness, you third party. That person has to be the witness. So if Meg bodyguard says something or Tory says something, Meg bodyguard can be a third party witness, but he has to have some type of proof. He's going to be taken with a grain of salt. But we need to be wondering, where is the security guard that was driving the truck? Nobody's asking these simple questions. Where is the security guard that was driving the truck? Where is he? And why did it get out of hand like this? Why? Why? So this is why we're questioning, did Meg act, did Kelsey actually shoot at Meg? Okay? Because you know, you got some big brolic chick on you like Meg, and it take two men to hold her down. You already know if you got the business, you fight for your life. That is just part of survival mechanisms. So I wanted to break that down just a little bit so we could kind of like just backtrack and kind of review or think about the things that happened. I'm going to share the clips with you guys of these audios that I'm sharing with you or referring to in the description. But I don't want to make this live long, but I do want to get into the next portion so I can educate my people a little bit about law and why this case is going to be thrown out and why Kelsey tried to plead the fifth after asking for immunity. So I'm going to share this screen with you guys, and this screen is going to show immunity procedures. Um, let's share the whole screen. Let's just share the whole screen. I gotta get it up. All right. So what we're going to show you now is the U.S. Department of Justice Office of Justice Program. Okay. And here it says immunity from prosecution and the Fifth Amendment and analysis of the constitutional standards. So I just want you to look at this a little bit, and we're going to go into one that's a little bit more detail. Okay. We have to know how to look up law and get an understanding. There's a lot of legal documents that you can find on law as well as lawyers who share these type of things on their website. So let's listen. Analysis of conflict Supreme Court. So this it has to be any law in any state has to be connected to the Supreme Court and has to fall under alliance with the Constitution. Even though most laws does not and people don't know it, but once you contest it and you take it up to Supreme Court, this is where constitutionality is actually reviewed. And if they don't handle it correctly in the circuit courts that in each state, then you can move forward to actually try to fight against the case in a higher level court. So, analysts of the conflict Supreme Court cases on the belief of immunity sufficient to satisfy the Fifth Amendment and recent case decided the issue. Okay, so the 1972 Supreme Court decision in the United States. Okay, this is State versus Castiger. Excuse my pronunciation. Apparently settled a long-standing controversy concerning grants of immunity to witness by one jurisdiction that do not prevent another jurisdiction prosecution of the witness. Now, this is between jurisdiction and prosecution, so keep this in mind. If a witness is granted traditional immunity, tran- transactional, I don't apologize, transactional immunity, he cannot be prosecuted for any event about which he testified. Testimonial immunity, however, merely prevents the testimony and its derivatives from being used in a subsequent prosecution. And this is what I mentioned on the Wiley show. if they're going to try to hold Kelsey in contempt for not saying what she said originally in her first testimony, they have to do so based on her lying and saying completely opposite. They cannot say that she is lying when she says she don't remember. That's why people use that. I don't remember. You remember Trump using that? Is a reason, because that is a defense. People have memory lapse. You can't force somebody to remember. You can't hold them liable for what they just don't remember. So this is why she kept saying that, because she was trying to not hold herself in contempt under this. Okay. However, merely prevents the testimony. As I said, they cannot use her testimony against her. But if she perjurized within the testimony, they can use that against her with other sufficient evidence. Okay. They will have to have someone as a witness that says, Kelsey, you shot Meg. And then they can move forward with prosecuting her. But you need to understand this, not prosecuting her, but giving her charges. You need to understand this. If you are a witness and you are the person that's supposed to be just innocent, there's no reason for you to ask for to plead the fifth. Basically, the reason why they plead the fifth is because we're gonna get into it a little bit now. Is because the person who's pleading the fifth knows that one, if they do the testimony, that testimony will directly implement them in the same exact situation or charges that they're actually testifying for, which will cause them to be able to be now the defendant in the case, in another case brought against them with perjury charges and more. Okay. The next situation where a person can actually get away with pleading the fifth is if they feel like their direct life is in danger, and if their testimony will impact their life, and is related to gang activity, or let's say racketeering activities, these witnesses can rescind their how can I say, just like what she did. She didn't formally rescind her testimony, but she said she forgot. And under those pretests, the prosecutor knows that she is protected. So Kelsey is actually playing chess. Kelsey, I think she knows what she did. I think she knows that the situation got out of hand. All of these people were practicing bad behavior. From Meg the Stallion, thinking that she could just go behind people's back, doing her thing, using people, and then lying to her best friend, and then perpetrating like, "Oh, I'm going back for you. He shouldn't be there," and you sleeping with him. Then you got Kelsey over there. She got to the point that she snapped. That's where her bad behavior came in. She may have pulled the gun and said, "Pop, pop, this big chick ain't about to beat me up and sleep behind my man." Then you got bad behavior Torey Lanez, the one that like to fight and beat up everybody. Here you go, Mr. Bad Boy. First and foremost, you stopped him from getting some white girl uni, baby, because you know he was going to get some. Then he drunker than a skunk, and both of you chicks, he don't want you tonight. So he about to make y'all fight. Y'all ain't about to be getting on him. Y'all gonna get on each other. And he turned the cameras around, allegedly on them, by saying, "Hey, Meg, won't you tell your girl what you doing?" And that's what took the attention off of him and started them fighting. And they let them fight. Listen, they let them fight. They let them fight. So let's go into the witness immunity, and then we're going to listen to some more of the commentary from other people. So most people are familiar with the right against self-incrimination embedded in the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution. This right allows a witness to refuse to answer questions that would lead to criminal liability. However, However, even if the person asserts his or her right to refuse to testify, the prosecutor can't offer a grant of immunity in exchange for the testimony. If a witness has been granted immunity from prosecution, he or she will no longer reasonably fear such prosecution and can be compelled to testify. So they must have didn't give her full immunity. They must have gave her transitional immunity. Still, there are important Sorry, I do apologize. Still, there are important distinction between types of immunity offered by the prosecution, which may not protect the witness entirely from prosecution from the crime at issue or other crimes related and unrelated. So she has to protect herself. For example, a dual sovereignty doctrine may allow the federal prosecution to prosecute a defendant who was given immunity at a state level, vice versa. So it may, if this case has to go up to Fed level, they may be the one that can bring charges on her and not the state because of her immunity. So she have to do what she's doing and say, I don't remember. And based on a lot of the factors that she gave, if you know a little bit about law, baby, you better learn from Kelsey. I got postpartum. She can show proof. Maybe she have a doctor. Maybe she just had a baby. I had C-19. I'm gonna just keep it real. People got COVID head, memory lapse, cloudiness. She had that. That's how Meg the Stallion creeped up in the bed with Tory Lanez. So she has a good defense to protect herself. But at the end of the day, I want you to remember that all of these individuals still may be working together just to get everything thrown out because they all know that if their dirty laundries are aired out, that they're all going to look disgusting in the public eye. Everybody has their parties who they like. Oh, Meg is a victim. Oh, Kelsey is a victim. Oh, they trying to take down a black man. All of them above. All of them above is happening. Excuse my language. All right. So this is a reference from Arkansas law. Now, as we talked about in the immunity right here, this is the US Department of Justice. Okay, so as we talked about, the Constitution has to align with the state codes and the doctrines that they're putting upon the people. So I'm just going to give you an example of this. So it's Arkansas Supreme Court, and because when people look at cases, you have to understand too, you can cross reference cases from other states and set it as precedents. So you have to understand how it works too, especially criminal cases. In any cases, evidence can be based on case law. It can also be based on judge's opinion, which is the case law and judge's opinion has to be relevant to the case. Meaning that, okay, if you're suing a person for negligence, you're going to pull up negligent cases all across the United States. Because at the end of the day, when you find these cases, you'll be able to use them as precedents no matter what state you're in. Because if you have to take this to a higher level Supreme Court, the Supreme Court is going to acknowledge any case law. So understand case law plays a part, and this is why I'm showing you because this is an example of case law in here, as well as judge's opinion. So if you want to look into certain things, that's how you look into it, as well as another form of evidence is the physical evidence that they collect, and also testimonial evidence. So there's a many different types of evidence that we can use, especially case law. So I just want to break that down to you because when people hear Arkansas Supreme Court, they're like, "Oh my God, it was in L.A. Oh my God, black people, open up your mind, and get out of your opinion and know the facts." So, according to the Arkansas Supreme Court in Hall versus State, the court asserts that the Fifth Amendment right against self incrimination only protects the defendant from use of incriminating statements or evidence to derive therefrom, but not from prosecution for related crimes. So, if they find out in according to Arkansas law, and they could use this as case law to bring against Kelsey, that she recklessly fired the gun just by way of testimony, and you know that if the witness that saw the gun, the first two shots, he never said he saw her shoot it, but he said the first two he didn't see who did it. If those two shots can be directly related to Kelsey and you have a witness, this is when they can pick up a case against Kelsey. So I'm explaining this, you're seeing it in front of you, so it can make some sense. Okay. The type of immunity may affect whether the defendant can be prosecuted. So it's the type, and when I'm going to go into the types. There are two overall types of immunity. Now, is derivative use immunity, immunity from the use of compelling testimony, because you want to derive something out of it, and evidence derived from it. It is coexistent with the Fifth Amendment right against self incrimination. It thus is a sufficient grant or immunity to compel self incrimination. So basically, what it's saying, if they're trying to derive evidence out of her testimony, that she can use the Fifth Amendment law clause. And that's why she can use the Fifth Amendment clause here, is because they're trying to derive evidence from her testimony to say that Tory Lanez did it. Yes, and the prosecutors and the police is doing bad behavior too here, because they're literally just trying to prosecute a black man. It ain't the black women, but it is the popo. Okay, they like, just say it was Tory. You said it was. We're gonna take him down, knowing that it's a possibility that these women had a fight and that this girl could have did it. He like, but now we ain't gonna put it on. We're gonna put it on him because he be messing with our white women. I'm just playing. He messing with our white women. We're gonna take Tory Lanez down. So I think this is the allegedly the mindset of the police, because they could have had taken the time to figure out the story and really grill Kelsey, look at the evidence and come back before they come with an actual try to bring charges against somebody. They can do a better investigation. But they just got what they had, brung it up there, and they was like, yes, charge him. The DA said charge him. Instead of doing your research and seeing, possibly you could have charged Kelsey too in the beginning, you big dummy. Oh my God. They could have. All they had to do was take the testimony and derive the story that they were fighting, and that both parties had a reason to want to fight and be mad. But no, they said just take the black man down. We're gonna use the black women to take the black man down. And this is how the conversation is going between us. Because in our soul, we know that's what they're doing, but then we're arguing amongst each other like big old dummies. All right, so transactional immunity, let's go. It's also known as a blanket immunity. This is the broadest form of immunity and protects the witness from further prosecution of any matter related to the immunized testimony. So she may not have transactional immunity. Okay. And this is why she plead the fifth. Okay. So I'm showing you this so you guys can see law, evidence, facts, and get out of your opinion. Oh my God. Oh my God. If the black people stay in their opinion, we ain't gonna never go nowhere. Y'all want laws changed, but y'all, this is how it should go, supposed to be. And all of these people, I mean, I hear people going off on a Wally shit. All of them police need to be brought to the feds. They blood stick that. I'm like, baby, I hope you got enough energy when they do something else to the black community that really affects us, like all of the housing discrimination, financial situation. I hope you got all that energy for that, baby, because you had a lot of energy. A lot of my black people got a lot of energy for this. And yes, I'm talking to you guys, and I'm talking about the case because I listen. And I need to be with y'all. I need to figure out what y'all talking about so we can uplift the nation and we could take these type of cases and learn. Since you're so intrigued about it, then you could take this part and learn about law. And next time they do something bad to you, you'll literally be dealing with law or knowing how to research law instead of using your emotion about what they should, could, and have done. Everybody got all these opinions instead of waiting till everything come out. So I'm gonna just finish off with this paragraph. Essentially, one can be compelled to testify with only derivative use immunity, meaning a prosecutor can later prosecute for crimes spoken of. That's why Kelsey's not saying anything. However, because she may have pulled that pistol out, it said "bow bow," the stallion. But they said nobody said the word "dance B." Nobody said that. Everybody's testimony, nobody said that. But she probably was in her mind, because she ain't shoot it at Meg, or allegedly. No, it was shot directly at a person's body. We know it was in the air and it had to be on the ground for it to ricochet. So let's finish reading this. Okay. However, the burden remains on the prosecutor in any subsequent criminal trial to prove that no evidence was derived from the witness testimony and that any evidence used come from wholly independent sources. And this is the case. It's United States. It's Kestiger versus United States. 406US.441, and this happened in 1972. You can literally put this in your search engine. Put this in your search engine, okay? And you'll see this case law come up. And they got a thing called Google Law. Yeah, you didn't know that? Look it up, baby. You can switch your search engine. Okay. So if the prosecution had access to immunized, testimony, it may reveal how it developed independent evidence against the defendant. So they could say, well, me listening to his testimony allowed us to go back and go get more witnesses that were able to corroborate what the facts were. And that'll be the only way they could kind of bring that up, but they can't bring that up as sole evidence. It must present evidence, either written or oral statement, explaining how the evidence doesn't emanate from the defendant's previous testimony. However, it's okay for prosecution had tangible knowledge of the immunized testimony. So, if that make any sense to you guys, this is why Kelsey may have shot Meg. It's just based on her behavior. It's just based on what she doing right now, and what she's doing is protecting herself. Okay, what she's doing is protecting herself. So let's finish listening to some of this, so you guys can get a better understanding, because we're actually listening to people who are in the trial instead of we keep saying I believe. Because I believe ain't get us nowhere. Obviously, I believe got us broke and making $40,000 a year as an average income in the black community. But I ain't even gonna get distracted. Yup. Our main income is $40,000. We are in poverty. I don't care how many black stars are out there trying to shine. Baby, it's a ploy. So let's finish listening to this. All right, let me say.
This witness, I just feel like, babe, you're not making sense to me. I mean, what the fuck happened? So, well, because the man doesn't have a point of reference, they had to describe him as the short guy. They had to describe Kelsey as one of the young ladies that was shorter, and then the other guy as the tall guy. Okay, that's what they had to do because he don't have no point of reference, and they didn't even want defense referencing him as my client. So they made that very clear. Um, Hey, he said I saw the short guy shoot all over everyone. So they played the audio of the gunshots. The gunshots went as followed: pop, 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 pause, pop, pop. All right. I saw the short guy shoot. Okay, I already read that. They said you saw the short guy, and this is what you heard after they played the audio. He said, yeah. He said I told them that he shot multiple times and that she fell out the car and was bleeding and crawling and stumbling. They said you thought that you saw a female shooting inside the car. Ain't that what you said? He said yes. He said, but my son was with me and I was worried about my son. He was the one who ended up finding the last cartridge case, and he said, but I never saw a gun. So if you never saw a fucking gun, nigga, how the fuck you saw Torey shooting a gun 5 times? What the fuck are you talking about? Please, please. They start, let this man go home. Because this is
Milagro.
botched. He said,
That's who this
he
is.
said, didn't you say, I see what appears to be the girl shooting in the car, into the car? Yes. Quote, he was shooting and she was just kicking and she crawled across the street into a ball. They said, what did Torch say as he fired the gun? This man said it was a torrent of abuse. They were saying, motherfucker this, motherfucker that. He said, but it was all of them. He said, but Torch was going crazy. He was agitated. Here go, Ken Barbie. He was going crazy. Chop. He said, yeah, he was going crazy. That fit his narrative. And then they were done and they wanted a redirect. Okay. Mr. Kelly, they said you spoke with my guy on January 5th, 2021, right? And you talked to the prosecution's people on September 2021. He said, yeah. And you agreed that you spoke to police and said that my client was in the car when shots were initially fired. He said, yes. And when you saw that muzzle flash closer to Kelsey, my client was in the car. He said, yes.
Now you see that? He keep changing his story up. But he said when the first shots was fired, he saw it happen in the car and it was closer to the girls. That girl started busting.
Client loosely, just so y'all know, but referencing Torey. They said, didn't you say that when he got out the car that he tried to get the gun from the other girl? He said, yes, that's what I said. He said, when you first heard the gun and saw the muzzle flash, that was near the woman, correct? He said, yes. He said, you said you never saw a gun, right? He said, yeah, he had something, but I just saw him like waving his hands around. And he said it was just all this fighting and yelling, and the girls was fighting, and he just got out cussing. They said, who did you see fire the first shot? The witness said the girl. Let them hoes tell you what the fuck they want to tell you. That's what that man said. He said he initially, what? It's three people sitting right here.
So you hear it yourself. He said initially it was the girl and then Tori. So they, in my opinion, just to wrap this up, because I got some other stuff to do, but I wanted to get this off my chest. They all were responsible for the bad behavior. Megan was not responsible for the shots fired. She was not responsible for the bullet fragments in her foot, but she was responsible for antagonizing as well as being a bad friend and just not being a good woman and having values. So that is one of the things that actually stemmed this. Tori is definitely a womanizer, and I know he's single or whatever. The little munchkin midget man, little leprechaun, no disrespect. He's shut up doing his thing because these women keep letting this little short man come into their life, knowing that he is destructive. Tory Lane is destructive. Him and the baby fighting people, doing things like you are literally blessed. You're literally blessed to have a position where you can reach millions of people. You can change lives with your words, with your art, with your talent, and they choose to be destructive. So they're very destructive. And in my opinion, Kelsey was in a situation where she thought she had a friend. Okay. And I know Meg Thee Stallion was using some of her connects and stuff to get what she wanted. And Kelsey probably felt used. So I'm going to say that about Kelsey because I'm not going to badmouth her. But at the end of the day, your reaction was bad because you pulled out, you may have shot at your girlfriend when you could have just took that L. Maybe you could have picked up a brick and busted in her head or something. I mean, I ain't want you to kill her, but you could have found another weapon to take down that big old stallion and not have a gun. Okay, I know you a Texas rodeo queen, but that was very unnecessary if that was the route that you took. Us as brown melanated people to sign off on, just us, we're really distracted. Our behavior is ridiculous. And I really hope, don't I said our, so don't feel no damn way. I really hope that we take the time and have as much energy for cases that will literally change the lives of our nation. There's a lot of bad things that's happening in city to city that is being swept under the rug, and people are not paying attention to because it's not trendy. They're not stars and this, that, and the third. The stars has not getting us nowhere, guys. We're still making below $40,000 collectively as Black people, and we need to refocus our mind on our generational wealth, our spiritual development, as well as learning the law of this land that is keeping us captive at the end of the day. I don't care what you think you can buy Fendi, Gucci, still is scamming. You're still a financial slave. You're still a slave to this system. You cannot say the things that you want to say. You are verbally shackled down as well as bombarded with ignorance. If you're ignorant, your stuff is going to fly. And at the end of the day, you're part of the Babylon system and the heathens. And you're going to have your own judgment to pay. I'm just going to keep it real. I'm just going to keep it real. I'm just keep it real. Feel away, feel judged. That's why I'm on Uncensored Enlightenment Talk. Because I'm going to talk the way I want to talk. Because I'm pretty much tired of people acting like we have to go with the social norm and say what everybody say. These stars ain't stars. These stars are regular people who have been put in situation. Their stardom has been bought, broadcasted, and monopolized right in front of us. Half of them are broke, deaf, and dumb, just acting like they have something, and you see them a few years down the line wash the hell up when they can't make no more music because they've been sucked dry by the others that Kanye West is talking about, and also Kyrie Irving. Okay, even though Kanye West is on a shit show, at the end of the day, I'm grateful for him sacrificing himself. The ignorance that he showed, the love that he showed, whatever it is also executing God's plan for the nations to know who are the original bloodline of the Most High. And the reason why that's important, because once we wake up, we're going to be able to implement a whole social change. And it's not going to be based on ego. It's not going to be based on lie. It ain't going to be based on how I feel, you feel. Fuck your feelings, excuse me. We got God law. And that is not to harm each other and to do good to each other. And if we ain't starting there and we like to keep in this bullshit, we're going to go down a path to unrighteousness and hell. I just got to say that. So I love you guys. I'm going to share the link. I'm going to share the link of the two videos that I was talking about, so we can have, you can listen to some common sense commentary. But I love everybody. That's why I go on y'all shows, and I just got to be with my people. Don't feel no way if I call you heathens, because y'all call people all types of names, especially on the Wally show. Y'all call people fat, ugly, stupid, dumb. You can call me a fake nurse. I'm a da 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 da. Yeah, baby. Heathens, say something. If the brick don't hit, then don't say nothing. But if it does, then say something. Because this time we ain't here to play. We here to slay. We're not here to play. We're here to slay. So I want to say thank you for being with Uncensored Enlightenment Talk. Just coming on our improv live. I just had some things to get off my mind. Press replay, hit the like button, and share. Because this commentary makes some excuse my language. This commentary makes some sense, baby. I'll talk to you later.